Hello, how are you today? Thank you
Oh,
very much for agreeing to meet.
thanks, Lisa. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's really exciting.
Oh, it is Mrs.
Yeah,
Hanky Panky.
that's me.
Of course, we've known each other since the school playground, haven't we? Many years ago now. Um,
Yeah.
but I absolutely love what you're doing, and it's just great to catch up with you and talk a little bit about the story of Hanky Panky, because it's such an interesting story. So, do you mind just talking us through well, first of all, I think it'd be really nice to hear about Mr. and Mrs. Hanky Panky. So you've been together now for how many years?
Um. Oh, well, Oh, you caught me on the back foot there. So it
I
is a
was
long
trying to guess. I was trying to
time back
guess.
to a different millennium, let's say. So we met in 1994. So that's 26 years ago. Yeah, we met 26 years ago.
Dear me, that is
Yes,
very, very impressive. And so,
uh,
how did the idea and the love of pancakes come about?
Wow. Steve's dad, my father-in-law, he always used to cook pancakes for his boys at weekends, and then Steve took on that tradition for our boys. So we've always had like Saturday breakfast or Sunday breakfast of Scotch pancakes, and so Steve got really, really good at doing those. And then Steve's wanted to own a restaurant for a long, long time, like 26 years ago, probably one of the first things that he mentioned, shall we say. And so so finally 6 years ago June, so it is 6 years ago, we opened the doors on Hanky Panky. So it was a sort of quite a long time in the gestating, shall we say, before it became a reality. And it's been quite a journey because there's so many different elements to a restaurant. It's the food is one aspect, choosing what you're going to cook and how you're going to present that, but it's all the other stuff as well. It's the atmosphere, it's the theatre of the restaurant, it's the music, the soundtrack, the everything, the interior, and the plants, as you can imagine, with Steve, because he's a very keen gardener as well.
He is, yeah, he is. Oh,
Yes.
I think you've got it perfect. There's no question. As when we go into Chester as a family, it's always one of them up there, and the kids are. I think you've got a particularly great pull, haven't you, with the youngsters, and with the children. You've got it really just perfectly right, and
Oh,
licensed.
thank you. Exactly. So we really do have the appeal across the generations, in fact. So that's lovely because there is something for everyone, and it's it's so wonderful because we get that whole mix of people, and actually, whatever it is we're thinking about, it's the people that bring it to life. And that's what we've really felt over the years. It's just been, we've met so many wonderful people who've come through the door, and we just love it. We love the atmosphere when it's full and bustling with people, which is obviously very different from this point in time, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm also really keen that, was it a year ago or maybe 2 years ago that you went into the festival idea and you have a mobile Hanky Panky?
That's right. It was we've done it 2 summers, last summer and the year before. So that was a whole new venture, actually creating this kitchen inside a 19, well, a vintage caravan, really. So all the drinks, all the pancakes, and deciding on the menu. And as you know, our other love is music. So we chose festivals that we really wanted to go to, and that's been a wonderful experience. Obviously, another very steep learning curve, because that's a whole different ball game. Doing the pancakes out in the wild, but it was great, and we got more confident with that. And then, in fact, this year, because of all that's happened in the last 3 months, that's actually really helped us shape the change in what we're doing to kind of respond to the lockdown. So we've been, for the last couple of months, as you know, we've been doing the takeaway and home delivery service.
I
So
absolutely love it. I think you've got it perfect. You know, you've got a range of foods. I mean, I'm dying to talk to you about the curry options, because I've had a few deliveries from you and I've chose different options. And, you know, I think, again, that's a great. Tell me how did that come about?
oh, thank you for all your lovely feedback. Well, it came about, as I said, Steve and his dad, that was his kind of decision and idea about Hanky Panky pancakes. And then we've always thought, how about some of the things that we love cooking together and eating at home? And those, I suppose, have come from, I suppose, the last two generations of Spice Girls. That's my mum and my two grandmothers. So, and we cook a lot of things that maybe they would have cooked at home. So we've, over the years, we love to cook some of those things. Some of them were written down, but to be honest, my grandmother's handwriting is a sight to behold, really. So we've got all these little sheets of paper which are written on both sides, very thin sheets, so you can see the writing coming through from the other side, and you have to decipher things. So those were some of the starting points, but obviously we had to develop those recipes and see what we thought would appeal to people. And yeah, it's been just so interesting and so amazing to be able to cook some of those things.
I wondered if sorry to interrupt you, but I wondered if it had been to do, because you took a once in a lifetime trip, I think, a few years ago. And I think you and I had seen each other and you'd said that you felt a little bit inspired from that too. So I wondered if it was also to do with that trip that you'd taken.
Yes, it was. We went to India, and we went to South India, to Karnataka, which is where my dad's family is from originally. And while we were there, we did a 3-day cooking course. So that was absolutely fantastic. It was so interesting, and it was actually an Ayurvedic cooking course. So it was looking at spices and foods in the context of health and cooking with the seasons and the festivals. So it really was fantastic. Again, using a lot of the spices that we're familiar with, but understanding more about them, and combinations, and how to create different flavors. So we were so, you know, that was so lovely. And it's all about developing your confidence with it and thinking about how that could how it could feature on the menu. And I suppose this period of time has given us that opportunity, because as you know, when you're really, really busy and you're just keeping on going, any small change is it's too much to kind of take on. So this actually gave us the opportunity to try some of those things, and actually we're really happy with how our ideas have been received, and so we're extending that menu. So yeah, hopefully there'll be plenty to try.
I'm super excited to see the evolution of how that's going to come about, and you know, so pleased it's here to stay, because I think it's brilliant. And also, you know, when we're back, I seem to remember you do. I've just started taking up ukulele lessons.
Wow.
Ukulele. So I think that was kind of inspired by my love of festivals. I love festivals too.
Yeah.
But also you do ukulele evenings.
That's right.
Come together and jam and have some nice drinks. And
yeah, that's been a really lovely part of this whole journey of Hanky Panky. When our boys were just at the beginning of high school, Steve and the boys went off and did their ukulele kind of group thing, and from that our interest in ukulele and all kinds of music has developed. I mean, Steve's been very musical throughout his life, but it was a lovely thing for them to do together. And then we had a little band together, myself and Steve. So that's been, yeah, really a wonderful part of it. And then we thought, well, let's do pancakes and ukulele and beer. So we were doing that on Thursday nights, and that was that was a regular thing for 4 years throughout those early years of Hanky Panky. So that was a whole different venture. And then we did a pantomime 2 years ago, a Christmas pantomime, which was really good fun. It was over 18s only. So there's lots of fun to be had here. We've had regular poetry nights, testify poetry nights once a month for the last 2 years, and that's been wonderful, hosted by Debs, a friend of ours.
I think it's amazing what you've both done, you know, and your family, because your boys are also involved now, aren't they, in the business? Yeah. It's wonderful how you're changing and, you know, innovating, and it's, you know, I know it's a tough time with lockdown, but you're making the most of it. And, you know, hopefully we can keep an eye on you in social media. I saw last week you did a free fizz.
We did a little
about that.
Well, it was actually a beautiful sunny day, one of those really hot days, and I thought, well, it's a definite Prosecco day today. So we thought, well, we teamed up with White Fox Wines to get some lovely wines to match the curry meals that we were doing, and so they recommended this bottle of Prosecco. So we thought, well, that would match really with some of our spicier foods, and if people were ordering those, maybe they'd like a bottle of Prosecco. But it was wanting to see them enjoying their drinks, so I set up a little competition to see if people would send in their photos. So if anybody wants to send in photos of themselves enjoying Prosecco in the sun or the rain, then I will pick my favourite and they'll get another bottle of fizz.
Love that idea. Better get straight on the case, I think, with that.
That's it. Oh, well, we might get a bit more sunshine, mightn't we?
I think we might. The sun's been popping up today, so who knows? In an hour, maybe it'll be
Prosecco time. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk. It's as ever lovely to see you and to have a catch up.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been lovely. Thank you. Thanks so much.
See you soon.
Yeah. Bye, Lisa. Bye.